You are a high school student. You are often bullied by high school Mr. Popular John Jungkook. He never does this with any other student in your school, but only with you, and you're sick of him. So in order to teach him a lesson, May dared you to sneak into his house at night and steal his hoodie. You did it, but you realized that you dropped your phone in his room. He started making you do things for him, like feeding him chocolates, massaging him, but you sprained your ankle while being with him. Then he took good care of you, and you're astonished at his behavior. A detailed video of Jungkook teasing and flirting with you is pinned in the comment section below. Please take a look. Ryan's point of view. Are you sure you don't want to go to the hospital to get your ankle checked out? He said, eyeing my ankle with a look of concern. No, it's fine. I think I'll leave, I said with a smile. Just to let you know, your punishment is over, chaps. I think you have suffered enough today to satisfy me, he said, looking at me with a smug expression. You think? I replied sarcastically. Picking up my phone to check what time it was, I saw it was 6 o'clock. Oh crap! Is that the time? I need to go home. I said I would be home for dinner. Before I could even attempt to stand, Jungkook sprung out of his chair to stop me. Whoa, who said you can walk on it yet? He said angrily. Sorry, Dr. Jungkook, I said with a teasing smile. I'll carry you to the car. You really don't have to. No, don't even bother arguing, he said in a tone which left no room for argument. Without hesitation, he bent over and effortlessly lifted me into his arms before beginning his walk towards the car. I watched with widened eyes as he did up my seatbelt for me as well. I have been doing my seatbelt myself for a while now, Jungkook. Oh yeah? Sorry. I kind of forgot you could do it. He mumbled out awkwardly as a light blush spread over his cheeks. A comfortable silence filled the car as I thought about the events that had occurred today. Shockingly, the afternoon was fairly enjoyable and was nowhere near as torturous as I thought it would be. Jungkook had actually been fairly civilized for once. It was beyond weird. It was almost like he was broken or something. He was supposed to hate me. Before I knew it, we had reached the house. Then I realized something. Jungkook, how do you know where I live? I asked in a suspicious tone. His eyes widened slightly in panic before he regained composure. I think you mentioned living on this road a little while ago, and I know a buddy who lives on this road, he said, brushing over his statement in a cool tone. That still didn't explain why he knew which house was mine, but I was too tired to probe any further, so I let it go. Jungkook opened the door and lifted me into his arms again before heading towards my door. He then rang the doorbell to the house before I had time to stop him. Why the hell did you do that? I have a key, I yelled at him, starting to panic. If my dad answered, I was so dead. It would be extremely hard to explain why a boy he didn't know was carrying me home from school. Before I could yell at him some more, the door of my house opened to reveal a grumpy-looking middle-aged man, or as I referred to him, Dad. He somehow managed to look even more angrier than before as his eyes scanned over Jungkook judgmentally. I heard Jungkook visibly gulp and shift nervously on his feet, not knowing what to say. Finally, my dad talked. Who are you? My dad spat out in disgust. Jungkook could not get a word out, still frozen in shock at my dad's bluntness. Dad, this is Jungkook, my friend from school, I lied, looking up at him with innocent eyes. My dad completely ignored me and his eyes remained firmly fixed on Jungkook, staring at him with an icy cold expression. My dad was a police investigator, so he had perfected the art of a hard glare over the years from numerous interrogations. I'm pretty sure I hadn't even seen him blink since we opened the door. Jungkook, would you like to explain to me why you're carrying my daughter? He asked with a surprisingly calm tone. Jungkook stumbled out nervously. I didn't think I had ever seen Jungkook at a loss of words before. He never loses his cool. I just sprained my ankle falling off the sofa. It was so stupid, I said with a chuckle, decided to tell it the truth. Did someone push you? He said, looking at Jungkook accusingly. Who's at the door, Jeff? my mom called, approaching the door. Once she saw the situation and my dad's expression, she leaped into action. Jeff, stop tormenting the kids and let them in. Ryan is clearly hurt, she said, pushing him out of the way. Jungkook gently lowered me down onto one of the sofas before immediately lifting my ankle on the armrest, so it was elevated. Jeff, go get some ice. My mom snapped bossly. My dad rolled his eyes before trudging off to the kitchen in submission. Are you okay, sweetie? Yeah, it's really not that bad. Ryan never told me she had a boyfriend. What's your name? She said as her eyes lit up in excitement. My dad let out a weird snarl sound before throwing the ice pack down onto my ankle hard, causing me to wince in pain. Ouch, Dad, be careful, I cried. My name is Jungkook, he said, reaching out to shake my mother's hand with a warm smile. And he's not my boyfriend, I added in quickly. I'm not sure why he had decided to leave that out. It was like he had a death wish or something. Could he not hear Jeff the snarling beast from behind him? Oh, Jungkook, Ryan talks so much about you, my mom said with widened eyes. She knew I hated Jungkook. I complained about him a lot, like a lot. Jungkook turned to look at me, his eyes lightened up in amusement. Does she know? He said, giving me a subtle wink. Don't get excited, I'm mostly just complaining about you, I retorted quickly, wanting to kill any idea of me having a crush on him from his mind. Do you want to stay for dinner, Jungkook? My mom asked kindly. He looked like he was about to say yes as he glanced over at me, but he seemed to hesitate as he spotted my dad from the corner of his eye, who somehow managed to look even more pissed off than before. No, it's alright. I should be heading home anyway, he said with a nervous laugh. But it was nice meeting you, Mr. and Mrs. Kim, he said politely. See you later, Ryan, he said with a smile before finally heading for the door. As soon as we heard the door closing behind him, my dad spoke up. I don't like that boy one bit. He's got way too much confidence. Wait a second. Why the hell were you even with him in the first place? I let out a heavy sigh as I mentally prepared myself for the nightmare of a conversation that was about to pursue. After my dad's thorough interrogation, I was finally tucked up in my bed. Just as I was about to put my phone down, I saw a random text message pop up from an unfamiliar number. Still awake, Chubbs? I rolled my eyes immediately, knowing whose number it was. Jungkook was the only person who called me by that god-awful nickname. And the name he had himself saved on my phone was Hot Beast, which was probably his attempt to be funny. Probably referencing when he blackmailed me into yelling it out in the middle of my workplace. Deciding to text him back straight away, I started typing. You really got busy on my phone, didn't you? How did you even get into it? Making Damon Salvatore your password isn't exactly the best idea when you have his face as your lock screen, is it? Well, in my defense, I didn't know anyone was going to actively break into it. And thanks to you, he's not my lock screen anymore, is he? So, you haven't changed the picture? I could practically feel him smirking through the phone as he typed that. I was such an idiot. I can't believe I just openly admitted that I hadn't changed the picture, which is him in a very inappropriate pose with very minimal clothes. His head was probably the size of a double-decker bus by now. I just blanked him, hoping he would just stop texting me altogether. Hello? Still there? Are you distracted looking at your lock screen or something? I rolled my eyes as I read his text message. His arrogance was truly something else. I threw my phone on my nightstand and was about to turn off my bedside lamp when my phone started ringing. And of course, it was Jungkook. Doesn't he know it's annoying to call someone late at night? I was tempted to ignore it, but I found myself pressing the answer button anyway. What? I snapped. I heard chuckling on his side of the phone. Wow, I'm so happy to talk to you too, Chubbs, he said sarcastically. Whatever, why did you call? I said bluntly. Well, I'm rather interested to hear the reason why I'm still your lock screen, he said with a snicker. I blushed in embarrassment. Don't flatter yourself. I just haven't had the effort to change it back. I said dryly. Sure, he said, sounding far from convinced. I'm serious. I whined, frustrated that he didn't believe me. I heard him laughing heavily at me from the other side of the phone. Since I'm your screensaver now, I think it's only fair you send me an equally scandalous picture of your own that I can use for my screensaver, he said with amusement in his tone. In your dreams. Oh, don't be like that, Chubbs, he said in a playful tone. I just rolled my eyes at him before something popped into my head that I had meant to ask him but forgot. Also, Jungkook, why did you delete Tinder from my phone? I asked accusingly. He paused for a couple of seconds before answering. It matches you up with too many weirdos. I was doing you a favor, he said with a scoff. He wasn't wrong, to be honest, but that still didn't give him the right to just delete the app without my say-so. Whatever, Jungkook, I said dismissively. Why are you even on it? Are you trying to get done or something? Please tell me you haven't actually met someone on there, Jungkook said in a voice that sounded strangely angry. No, not that it's any of your business what I do. Just don't meet up with anyone on there, he snapped back. Who was he giving demands to? Jungkook, I'll do whatever I want, I growled before angrily hanging up the phone. He tried to call back, but I just put it on silent. He wasn't the boss of me. At Ryan's workplace. Nah, I'll give him an 8, Ben said, gesturing over to someone in the far corner of the shop. Are you kidding me? He's a solid 9. His barber should be behind bars for that monstrosity, I said, snorting while turning to get another look at his hair. Whoa, that guy over there looks fit as hell. Where the hell does he get his hair cut? If anyone had overheard him, they would assume Ben was gay. Looking up to see who he was talking about, I saw Jungkook. Of course it had to be him. Hey, isn't that the same boy who embarrassed you the other day? Ben said with a snort as he got closer. Yep, I snorted. Jungkook looked irritatingly good today. He had spotted me now and his Bambi eyes sparkled with mischief as he started to make his way over to me. Hey Chubbs, he said with a smile. I see your ankle is all healed up, he said as he settled into the stool across from me. What are you even doing here, Jungkook? I was just craving some ice cream, that's all, Jungkook said with a shrug, sporting his usual insufferable smirk. He was lying. He was either here to embarrass me or to annoy me. I watched him lean forward on the stool and have the audacity to help himself to a menu from behind the counter. What a confident little prick. I'll have the extra cookies and cream sundae with Oreo cookies and extra whipped cream, please, he said with no hesitation. Oh, and you might as well add some chocolate sauce in it too. I narrowed my eyes at him. I shouldn't have expected anything less of him to order one of the most time-consuming sundaes on the menu just to anger me. I passed by Ben, who was grinning his head off, probably amused by how pissed off Jungkook had made me. Oh, don't look so sad, Wayne. You have only got an hour left, Ben said in a baby voice, reaching out to squeeze my cheeks. Jungkook, who had barely seemed to have noticed Ben at all, whipped his head up to look at Ben with a frightening rapid speed. He glared at Ben with an emotionless glaze and a clenched lower jaw, and I watched in confusion as he looked Ben up and down in disgust. Keep your hands to yourself, buddy, Jungkook spat out at Ben, his tone completely void of its normal humor. Ben looked momentarily stunned before he collected himself and gave Jungkook an awkward smile. I don't think we have met. My name is Ben. I am Wayne's friend. I have seen you around at school. You play soccer, right? Ben said warmly as he reached out his hand for Jungkook to shake. Wayne? Jungkook said with a rude scoff, not reaching out to reach the handshake. Ben, who looked a bit uncomfortable now, slowly lowered his hand. Yeah, that's my nickname for her, he said, trailing off awkwardly, clearly able to feel the weird tension building up in the room. Jungkook hummed, seeming far from impressed. Anyway, I'm just going to go deliver this to that table over there, Ben said uncomfortably as he scurried away with the dessert in his hand, leaving me alone with this monster. Chop chop, I want my ice cream today, Chubbs. Jungkook snapped impatiently with a scowl on his face. What the hell had gotten him into such a bad mood? For more videos, please subscribe this channel. Have a great day, dear ones. Bye.